So in this video, we're going to be ranking all the weapons currently inside Warzone from best to worst. If that sounds interesting to you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 50k subscribers. Also click that link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel as well. We'll be posting extra content. But like I said, we're going to go through every single weapon and ranking them in this tier list, as you can see on screen just now. Now, we have missed out certain weapon categories, so we've missed out melee weapons as well as launchers, just for the sake of time in this video, and we're also going to go through this very quickly. We'll try and categorize all these weapons in terms of assault rifles, SMGs, LMGs and everything down in the timestamps below, so if you do want to kind of skip to certain parts of this video, you can as well. But let's quickly get through this, and I'm not really going to give too much of an explanation. So Coldor AK, in my opinion, is meta for both sniper support and just as assault rifle. Modern Warfare AK is top tier lower in my opinion, definitely not as good as the Cold War version. AMAX, definitely top tier upper. AN94 is decent. AS Val is decent if you want to use it for solos or duos. AUG is okay, it's not too bad. I wouldn't really use it personally, but if you do like burst rifles, the AUG's not too bad. The FAL is a solid semi-automatic weapon, but definitely not near the meta section of this. Fara, definitely a meta weapon in my opinion. I do think it's super solid, fully automatic, low recoil. Just a very good gun overall. TTK is consistent too. FFAR, it's a decent sniper support, so I'm going to put it in top tier lower. ADS is just a bit too slow. FR 5.56 is trash. Grau, top tier upper, always has been, probably always will be. Grows us in the kind of same categories the FFAR. Kilo is decent, it just has that third damage drop off point where I could recommend many more weapons instead. And speaking of, the krig is probably what I would recommend. Super low recoil gun if you do want to use it. M13 in my opinion is top tier upper at the moment. If you land a couple of headshots, this gun does kill relatively quick. M16 is decent. Again, very similar to the AUG. M4A1 top tier upper for sure. Low recoil, decent TTK. Odin is decent. Once again, it's just too slow firing to be a versatile weapon in my opinion. QBZ's top tier upper is sniper support. I've talked about this in my previous video. If you want to check that out, you can. Ram 7 is top tier upper. Kind of hard to use. If you play on keyboard and mouse, you probably do a bit better. But overall, still a solid weapon. Scar is decent, they need to increase the mag size. XM4 in my opinion is actually still meta. The Carve is just a worse M16 and AUG in my opinion, so I wouldn't really recommend it. I do think it's kind of trash. It doesn't output as much damage, it does have a little bit less recoil though. STG, super solid gun, definitely a meta weapon at the moment, can work in many different circumstances, can be a good sniper support too. Automaton is now just decent, it's got too much recoil in my opinion and it doesn't hit hard enough to be any higher on this list. The Volk is basically the new Automaton in my opinion, so if you do want a similar weapon, the Volk maxed out is very similar. NZ41 is top tier lower. The fire rate's a bit too slow for this gun to be super solid in my opinion, and the bar is actually a slightly better version of that gun because it fires a little bit slower but hits way harder. AS44 is an amazing sniper support gun, overall probably the best sniper support gun in the game. The Cooper Carbine, very good long range, very good close range, very good as sniper support as well, highly recommend that. The Itra Burst is probably the best burst fire gun in the game at the moment. We also do have the Grav. The Grav is definitely top tier lower. The EM2 in my opinion is still meta. I still think is a solid assault rifle, and the C58 is kind of between meta and top tier upper, but I'll put it in top tier upper for now. Moving on to SMGs now, we've got the P90 first. The P90 is kind of decent. It doesn't hit hard enough, but it does have super low recoil. Bison is also decent. ISO I'll put in decent just because people want me to put it here. I would usually put it in trash. Type 100 in my opinion is top tier lower. The mag capacity on it just doesn't allow it to be any higher on this list in my opinion. You do put the bigger mags on there, you get a slower TTK. MP7 in my opinion is top tier lower as well. It does have a really fast fire rate and TTK at close range, but it is super low recoil as well. But I just don't think it's some of the best SMGs in the game. Then we've got the Striker is kind of trash. The only thing going for it is that it's fully auto. Fennec is top tier lower in my opinion. The mag size lets it down, especially in quads. The Modern Warfare MP5 is definitely meta. The Uzi is decent if you put the AE rounds on it. Modern Warfare AUG is top tier lore in my opinion, even though it has the fastest TTK, the movement's not there. Owen gun is top tier lore as well. Very slow overall, but it has a slow fire rate, but it does output a ton of damage. Tommy gun is top tier upper if you build it correctly. MP40 is the best SMG in the game, hands down for anything. TTK, recoil control, whatever you want, MP40, definitely use that. The Vanguard PPSH is top tier upper in my opinion if you build it correctly. Sten is top tier upper as well if you build it correctly. Nail gun is top tier lower. I do think it's solid in terms of TTK, just you can't put attachments on it, that's the only issue. Cold War MP5 top tier upper in my opinion as well, definitely a solid SMG. KSP is ultra trash. I don't know why anyone would want a burst fire SMG, especially when it fires as slow as this one. Milano, in my opinion, is top tier lower. I do think it's a solid SMG. LC10, top tier lower. PPSH from Cold War, top tier upper in my opinion. Good sniper support as well. Mac 10, top tier upper. Bullfrog, top tier upper. CX9, top tier lower. AK-74U as a sniper support, it's top tier upper. Tech 9, I'd probably put it top tier lower just because you can't suppress it. That's the only kind of probably drawback I'd have to this gun. Then OTS9, I'd say it's top tier upper at the moment. And last in the SMG category, we do have the Lapa SMG, which I do believe to be a meta SMG as well. Definitely a super solid option, even as a sniper support, if you do want to try out for that. Next up, we have the LMG category. We've got the RPD, first of all. The RPD, in my opinion, is top tier lower. We then have the Stoner, which again is top tier lower as well. Both have pretty relatively low recoil, and the RPD has a little bit better recoil control in my opinion, but they kind of kill roughly in the same time now, especially with the recoil changes, and if you do miss a couple of shots. The Type 11, in my opinion, any of the Vanguard LMGs are actually really good right now, so the Type 11 is top tier upper. The Bren is the meta LMG at the moment, probably the meta long range rifle in the game at the moment. RAL LMG, in my opinion, is top tier lower. It's definitely usable. Finn LMG is decent. If you put the adverse barrels on it, you do get a fast TTK, but the recoil is still a bit high. DP27, in my opinion, is top tier upper. The M91 is top tier lower. It's got a good mag, low recoil, solid option. The SA87 is kind of hard to use now. They increased the recoil in this gun, even though it did hit pretty hard. PKM, in my opinion, is top tier upper for sure. There's not really much of an explanation needed for that one. This is the M88 LMG, which is trash. Definitely super slow movement. Holger, in my opinion, is kind of trash too. It's just like a pea shooter. It does have low recoil, but I don't really think it's a good gun. MG34, I think this one is. It's got just too much recoil. MG84 from Cold War is top tier upper. Super fast TTK. If you can control the gun, it's really good. Bruin, top tier upper in my opinion. Low recoil if you use the 100 round mags. Very consistent TTKs as well. We've got the MG from Vanguard, which is a really good gun as well if you kit it out correctly. Now, shotguns we're going to speed through really quickly because I don't like them and I don't like to encourage them either, so we're going to go through these really quickly. So Origin shotgun, definitely in my opinion top tier lower. You can spam it, so any spam shotgun is good. Street Sweeper, again, I think it's top tier upper actually because it's fully automatic, it's got a decent TTK. Gallows shotgun, you can spam it. Top tier upper movement's really good on that gun as well. Howler, top tier lower in my opinion. Definitely does a lot more damage than some of the other shotguns. Double barrel shotgun's now been nerfed for the akimbo version, and now it's trash because you only get 2 shots in it, so I do not recommend it at all. We've then got the Gracie Auto shotgun, which is actually top tier lower in my opinion. Solid shotgun overall. Revolving shotgun, in my opinion, is definitely a meta shotgun because you can spam it and it outputs a ton of damage. The combat shotgun, again, is a meta shotgun at the moment as well because it fires relatively quickly, but it outputs so much damage as well. The R90 shotgun is definitely top tier lower. The model shotgun is trash, or ultra trash in my opinion. The Ironhide shotgun is ultra trash as well. Jack 12 needs to go right next to the Street Sweeper. They're very similar weapons. And the VLK Rogue is top tier lower in my opinion. We've also got the 725 shotgun here as well, which is also ultra trash. So we're going to do the Marksman rifles and the sniper rifles in the same category here. So we've got the DMR, which is actually a decent weapon. If you do like semi-auto firing weapons, it is solid to an extent. We've got the other type, I think is 99. I'm not even too sure what it's called, but it's the type Marksman rifle. Then we do have the Tundra Sniper, which in my opinion is top tier upper. It's got good bullet velocity. Flinch resistance is pretty decent on it too. The M82 Sniper is actually not too bad, but I've not really used the semi-auto snipers in my opinion, so I'm going to put it in ultra trash for now. Pellington is top tier lore. The only issue with this gun is the flinch is just way too high. If you're used to using it, it's not too bad. It outputs a decent amount of damage too. AX50 in my opinion is top tier upper. Even though it doesn't get used all that often, it's still a solid gun. The Dragunov's trash. The Rytek is definitely trash. The M1 Grand in my opinion is top tier lower. Definitely a good gun. We probably will be making gameplay videos on some of the Marksman rifles from Vanguard. The G43 I've not really tried out too much, but what I have tried out it is pretty decent. When it comes to the HDR is definitely a meta gun. It's got some of the best bullet velocities out of all the sniper rifles that are available. Then we've got the Type 99 and the 3-line rifle, both in my opinion are top tier upper. I don't think they're some of the best snipers in the game, but they're definitely very usable. We've got the MK2 carbine, which is ultra trash. We have the SVT, which in my opinion is top tier lower. Until I find some meta builds for these, I can't really decide 100% whether or not they're amazing or not. But if you are using the base guns, they are pretty solid, even as ground loot as well. The SPR in my opinion is meta for sure. It's actually got probably some of the least flinch resistance now, or the least flinch out of all the snipers that are available to us. We've got the Modern Warfare Kar 98, which in my opinion now is just top tier upper. I don't think it's a meta sniper anymore because the focus perk has now actually been fixed. We've got the Swiss now, which I do still think is meta because they actually reduced the flinch back on this weapon and it still outputs an absolute ton of damage. The anti-tank rifle, again, because it's semi-automatic, I'm going to put it in ultra trash. We do have the Kar 98 from Vanguard, which is definitely a meta gun because it has the fastest ADS out of any sniper rifle now. Then we do have the SKS, which I think is decent if you want to spam it a little. Then we've got the ZRG, which is definitely a meta sniper rifle. It's got some of the best bullet velocities and damage profiles out of any sniper. Then we do have the crossbows here as well. Both have been buffed to give 250 damage to the chest, so they are definitely viable now. I'd put them in the decent category because they do output a good amount of damage now. So the way I'm going to rank these secondary weapons is where I would put them if they were actually a primary weapon, and I'm going to put them one above where I would put it because it is a secondary weapon. You can take Ghost or Tempered with it, so that gives it an extra bonus point in my opinion. So the 1911 from Cold War, I would actually put in ultra trash because I wouldn't really pick this up or put it in a loadout in my personal opinion, so it would go in trash. The revolving pistol is probably some of the only exceptions to this where I'm going to leave it in ultra trash because the Cold War revolvers are really bad. The Diamatis, if they were an actual weapon, I would actually choose it over some of these guns that are in the top tier lore, so I'm going to actually put it in top tier upper because again, like I said, it's a secondary weapon. The M19s are actually not too bad. I would actually put these in maybe trash, or I'd actually put them in the one above because I'll get the +1 extra point, so it is decent. We've got the Renetti pistol, which again is just a bad Diamati pistol, so I don't really want to put it in the same kind of category. Then we've got the X16, which I'm going to give the same kind of treatment to. It is a solid kind of pistol, but I'll move it one up because as a pistol you can take Ghost or whatever with it. Then we've got the snake shots, the Modern Warfare snake shots, and they're no longer the best snake shots in the game either, so we have to put them in ultra trash. Psychovs I would put in decent actually, and that is because they've got an 80 round drum mag, and that's just really handy to see on any secondary weapon, so giving it a +1 gives it in top tier lower. Deagles are trash, always have been. 1911s from Modern Warfare are actually kind of trash. AMP is my personal favorite. I would put it in top tier lower, but because it gets that +1, it's in top tier upper as a secondary weapon. Then we've got the shotgun pistols from Cold War. They were always trash. They just don't even have any sort of killing potential. The Clouser I would put in trash if you give it that +1 treatment. The machine pistols everyone says are really good, so for that reason I'm going to put it in top tier lower if you run these in akimbo, but I don't actually know from personal experience how good these guns are. The top breaks I would put in actually top tier lower if you use them as snake shot pistols, and if you give them the +1 treatment they go in top tier upper. Then we've got the rat pistol, which is actually pretty decent. So I'm going to put it here, and then the 1911s, which are bad once again. One of the 1911s are actually not too bad. Whatever, I think it's the Vanguard ones where you get the full auto attachment on it. So you could use that if you really wanted to. So there we have it. We've ranked every single gun in the game from best to worst. If you enjoyed this video and you learned something new, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 50k subscribers. Also click that link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel as well. And thank you very much for watching.